Ver. A. We are reading from the writings of article What is Praise the Lord All Nations in the work. You can find the material in CIA info. The links are in the study materials tab in the root system. If you ask a question from the hall, please hold the microphone close to your mouth and as loud and clearly. In this opportunity, we'll also greet our students who are here for the first time from the third level of campus and the O in the Heart Center. All the best for them. Article What is Praise the Lord All Nations in the work. The writing says, praise the Lord all nations, BL him all the peoples, for his mercy has prevailed over us, and the truth of the Lord is everlasting. Hallelujah. We should understand why all the nations must praise the Creator, since it is written, for his mercy has prevailed over us. It would seem that it should be cont to the contrary, that by being merciful with the people of Israel, the nations should and be angry with the Creator. Yet here the writing says, him all the peoples, for his mercy has prevailed over us. Can this be? We should interpret this according to the work. When we speak of one person, since every person is a small world, as it is written in the Zohar, there is the quality of the nations of the world in a person, and there is the quality of Israel, and the Israel in the person is an exile under the rule of the nations of the world. In other words, it is known that Israel means straight to the Creator, that he wants all his actions to be directly to the Creator, meaning that everything will be for the sake of the Creator. However, the thoughts of the nations of the world are only about their own benefit, as it is known that each nation has its own govern the Israel within him, and do not let Israel do what Israel must do. Instead, each time each and every nation imposes its lust on a person, so he will do as it wishes. This is called the people of Israel being in exile. However, we should know then, believe that everything that a person can receive in vessels of reception is not more than a tiny light compared to the light of the pleasure that is clothed in spirituality, which is received in vessels of bestow. And yet our sages said a rule: one does not die with half one's wishes in one's hand. That is, there's not a person in the world who can say that he is the happiest person in the world according to the rule. One who has 100 wants 200. Hence, there's not a person in the world who is carefree, at rest, or at peace. Rather, each and everyone has his own deficiency, as it is written, envy, lust, and honor bring one out of the world. Follows that in the end every person suffers because he cannot satisfy his deficiencies, but one who is rewarded and receives from the Creator vessels of bestow. In these Kim he receives the delight and pleasure that the Creator has prepared for the created beings, and then the person lives in a world that is all good. It is as our sages said. Rabbi May says, anyone who engage in TMA is rewarded with many things. However, the whole world is worthwhile for him. In other words, he sees how the world is worthwhile for him, since when a person receives everything in vessels of best, which is equivalent of form, which is called the delight and pleasure that is found in the thought of creation, called his desire to do good to his creations, is imparted upon him to the extent of his ability. This is as described in the essay. Matt, our sages tell us the world had not been created, but for the purpose of observing. To that is the aim of the Creator from the time he created his creation, is to reveal his godliness to others. This is because the revelation of his godliness reaches the creature his pleasant bounty, that is ever growing until it reaches the desired measure, and by that the lowly rise with true recognition and become a chariot to him, and to cleave unto him until they achieve their final completion. It therefore follows that when a person is rewarded with vessels of ball, he is rewarded with the delight and pleasure that were in the thought of creation. This is called the Lord favors a man's ways, even his enemies make peace with him. Who interprets this as the serpent, the is the evil inclination, is the appoint of the 70 nations, as was said, the quality of the nations of the world in one's body cause him not to be able to be rewarded with the delight and pleasure. It therefore follows that when a person receives delight and pleasure, the vessels of reception are also mitigated by his using the vessels of reception in order to bestow. Therefore they too receive the delight and pleasure. This is called when the Lord favors a man's ways, which is when he works only for the sake of their Creator, called engaging lishma. Then he is rewarded with many things, as said in the words of May. For this reason the nations of the world in a person's body must also praise the Creator, because they are now receiving delight and pleasure by a person being rewarded with vessels of bestow. This is the meaning of the words praise the Lord. All nations lord him, all the peoples, but why should they praise the Creator? For his mercy has prevailed over us. That is, it is because they overcame the vessels of reception, and who gave the power to make the prevail? Only the Creator gave this, as our sages said. Man's inclination overcomes him every day. Unless the Creator helps him, he cannot overcome it. It follows that all the nations too should praise the Creator, for his mercy has prevailed over us. We have been rewarded with the Creator's mercy, and by this we now see the truth of the Lord, meaning the truth that the Creator watches over the world with the guidance of good and doing good, which is now revealed to all their nations. It follows that man's enemies, which is the evil inclination called enemy, as it is written, if your enemy is hungry, feed him bread, referring to the evil inclination, as our sages said that King Solomon would call the evil inclination by the name enemy, so he too will make peace with him. This is called, and you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with both your inclinations, namely with the good inclination and with the evil inclination. When a person's vessels of reception obtain the force to receive in order to bestow, at that time he serves the Creator with the evil inclination. To that is the evil inclination also loves the Creator, for it too receives and pleasure. This is why it is written, and the truth of their Lord, as he interprets in the study of Ver 10 about the 7th correction of the 13 corrections of Gno, called and truth. That it is called and truth because in this correction it becomes revealed to all that this is the truth, that such was the purpose of creation, to do good to his creations. It therefore follows that in the work we should interpret what the Sur says, that all the nations have a minister over them, but as far as for the people of the is only the Creator governs them. For the people of Israel are the portion of the Lord, since the nations of the world receive for themselves, as it is written in the Zohar about the verse, the grace of the nations is a sin, for all the good that they do for themselves. That is, everything they do is only for their own benefit. This is called 70 nations, meaning 70 rulers, where each nation has a special lust. This is generally called the evil inclination, since it causes man to become separated from the Creator. This is regarded as the ministers ruling over the nations of the world. In other words, they do not feel that there is a Creator who leads the world. Conversely, the quality of Israel, which means that they are in the portion of their Creator, since all their actions are for the sake of their Creator, not for their own sake. This is considered that the Creator took the people of Israel to his portion, and no minister governs them. In other words, one who enters the quality of Israel says that only the Creator governs him, and no other force. This means that both ascend and descends. The Creator does everything. This is as is said, God master of all the deeds. That is, everything that a person does, the Creator is the operator, as said before. The fact a person should say that it is all up to him, as our sages said, if I'm not for me, who is for me? Meaning that man does everything, but after the fact he should say that the Creator does everything, for he is the master of all the deeds. According to the above, we should interpret what is written, the heavens will praise your wonders, O Lord, your far faithfulness also in the assembly of the holy ones, for who in the skies is comparable to the Lord, who among the sons of gods is like the Lord. We should understand how this concerns us, that the heavens are thankful for the work of the Creator, since the main thing we need to know is what we must do in the work. We should interpret that heaven and earth are two states in which man is one. In a state of a sense, it is considered that a person is in heaven, that is, as heaven is called giver. If a person is in a state of ascent, it means that he wants to bestow upon the Creator. This is considered that all his works are for the sake of the Creator. 2. When a person is in a descent and falls to the earth, earth is the quality of reception. In other words, a person has fallen into a state where he cannot do anything unless it satisfies his will to receive. This is called earth. According to the above, a person should believe that the Creator does everything that is once a person has overcome his will to receive, and works only for the sake of the Creator. It is said, the heavens will praise your wonders, O Lord. That is, this act is truly a wondrous act. Nature, man cannot do anything that is not for his own benefit, but now the Creator has raised him to heaven. It is written, and those people will thank those who are now in a state of heaven will thank the Creator, since this work is done only by the Creator and not by man, for man is incapable of doing anything that does not concern his own benefit, since he was created with such a nature. Your faithfulness also in the assembly of the holy ones. This means that faith which is in the assembly, who now feel that they are holy, as it is written, you will be holy, for I am holy. That is, as the Creator wants to bestow, so man should have a desire only to bestow, as it is written, your faithfulness also in the assembly of the Holy One. That this too comes from the wonders of the Creator, that they have been rewarded with faith, and because of this they are regarded as an assembly of holy ones. There is a double meaning here. It is written, for who in the skies, that is one who is in the skies, who was rewarded with being in the heavens, meaning with the desire to bestow. Called heaven is comparable to you. This seems perplexing, because according to the literal meaning, the verse you say, for who in the skies is comparable to the Lord. Is there anyone who can make a mistake and say that someone will value himself similar to the Creator in the work? We should interpret that the writing tells us that one should not think that the overcoming the work and labour that he has given, by this he became the quality of heaven, a giver. However, the person had nothing to do with it, that he helped the Creator to be able to pull a person out of self-love into the desire to bestow for the sake of the Creator. Afterward, the verse says about this, who among the sons of the gods is like the Lord. In other words, those strong and mighty people should not think that the fact that they had the power to overcome their evil was by their own strength. Rather, everything came from the power of the Creator, as it is written, who is like the Lord, able to overcome the evil without the Creator's help. Yet it is written, he who comes to purify his AD, which implies that man's work did help their Creator, creating a place to give help. So why is it said that everything is done by the Creator? We should interpret what our sages said, he who comes to purify. That is, if we see that the person came on his own to purify, which is an awakening from below, the answer to this is he is being aided. That is, the fact that he has come to purify comes by assistance from above. Otherwise he would not come to purify. It follows that the fact that came to purify also comes from the Creator and not from the created. Being this contradicts human reason, that on the one hand we say he who comes to purify, which means that that man can choose to do, and on the other hand we say that the Creator does everything, so they contradict one another. Maimonides writes in this in his interpretation on the Misnar, everything is expected, everything is he is revealed and known to the Creator in advance, and the permission is given. Nevertheless, man has the authority to choose the good or the bad. In other Words man has free choice knowing the Creator that he knows everything in advance does not obligate a person in any way, although this is impossible according to our attainment and understanding, but the Creator's knowing is not the same as our knowing. There's no similarity between them whatsoever, since he and his knowing are one, as we do not attain the existence of the Creator with our limited mind, so we do not attain his knowing. To each we see in the words of my Mon that it is not in our attainment to understand the two above matters which contradict one another. Said that although they contradict one another, it is before a person is rewarded with private providence. However, after he has been rewarded with private providence, he can understand that this is not a contradiction, but with the external mind it is impossible to understand this. This means that there is a contradiction between reward and punishment and private providence with regard to everything. We must go above reason and do both, as we see in the words of the Zohar, for her peace is far above pearls. Asks, it should have said worth that it is harder to buy her than pearls. Why does it say her price? He replies, to all those who do not adhere to her completely and are not whole with her, she sells them and turns them over to other nations, as you say, and the children of Israel abandoned the Lord, and he sold them to the hand of Sisler, and they are all far from those high and holy pearls which are the secrets and the internality of the Torah, for they will have no share in them. It follows that here he speaks of reward and punishment that is in the work. We should interpret that when a person receives some awakening from above and does not know how to maintain the state of ascent, since he does not appreciate it as he should when the king calls on him to enter a little bit into at that time, this sells the person to other nations, that is the thoughts and desires of other nations control him. It follows that on one hand a person should say everything is under providence, and on the other hand there is reward and punishment. However, it is as in the words of my Moans. What do you think about the article? Yes, good morning, raw friends, new friends. He writes here something that he says it is written that the people that are in the aspect of heaven, that they will know it's only operated by the Creator, not by man, because man cannot do anything that is outside of self-benefit, because that's the nature man was born in. What causes the Creator to change this in the person? What is it again? What was the question? I'll read it again. He says, it is known that these people will know that they're in the aspect of heaven, that they will know that the action was always by the Creator and not by the person, because the person cannot do anything that is not in self-benefit, because that's the nature he was born in. So what happens that the Creator suddenly changed the dis for a person who say studies the wisdom of Kabbalah? How does everything turn around? What does it mean that he changes his disc, that all of a sudden he receives the aspect of heavens and he says here that man cannot do anything. So who calls it what? How did the Creator suddenly decide that he'll have that? What happened? Of course the Creator caused this. Yes, there's none else besides him. Yes, but how did it suddenly happen? Probably the person wants, according to his degree, to move to the next degree. Look, it's not just that the sentence here that I don't understand is these people will know that they are in neck of heaven, they achieved bestow, and they will know this action was only by the Creator, not man. So what does it mean? The meaning is that they saw, and it was clear to them that they are in the desire to receive for themselves each of them, and have no possibility of emerging out of this, and suddenly they see that there is probably a change, and this change can only come but only from that upper source that created them in the desire to receive, and now it's moving them to the desire to bestow. What's the essence of that action? What did I do that I received the heavens? You wanted to move to that, okay, but what's the essence of the action I did? Let people 15-20 years don't do it. What suddenly happens that they can do it? Who does it depend on? It depends on the person and on the Creator, what is man's role here so that the Creator will change his this to add to the desire that he receives from above from the Creator to add to that a desire from himself as much as possible that is called an awakening from below, and then everything turns around. Basically, yes, look, there are many people studying many years. What do I need to do in the tent so that we finally see it, that the Creator comes and changes why white my this what is the thing that ultimately does that we need to do all that we can from what the Creator demands. And what does he demand? For us to connect and in our common desire turn to him and compel him to change our desire from in order to receive to in order to bestow. How do I obligate the Creator to do this for me? You obligate the Creator by simply asking, demanding, begging, trying not you but rather the entire to just asking and begging and praying. Do you have something else to do? Look, if everything depends on me, even if I cry till tomorrow and I did and nothing happens, so that there's something beyond just a crying and asking all day. There's a feeling that he's not even listening to you. First of all, every day that you cry and ask, there is also in this an action that is cumulative. Penny joins another penny. Yes, and what do you do towards the friends to really get closer? By coming closer to them and more you by no choice are not just you to them, but them to you as well, more and more until you reach that center of the 10 and understand, see, feel with certainty already that without the connection together you won't be able to succeed. What is this connection to fight and then to overcome it? That means to connect. What about just saying how great you are and how beautiful you are and giving him a cup of coffee? Is that enough, or do I not even struggle with him if he speaks in a sharp way? Let's say in this sharp way, it's like what you do is you want to keep what you have and what this desire that you have and deliver it to your friends, and not to be afraid of a relationship of getting into struggles if need be, if there's a need, and then to rise above that. Your goal is connection into one heart, and then the responses are not important as long as we are driving towards connection and to convince everyone and yourself. A person cannot convince himself, only through the friends. Convince yourself to how you can be connected to everyone. So you're doing it. I'm trying, I'm really trying. If you'll try like it was, then it'll also remain like it was. So what do you expect? Look, there's this famous thing you told us, that when Rabbi Shimon entered the cave, until they entered the cave and sat, and then he said, okay, put the knife between your teeth and let's see how you advance. That was never clear to me. What does it mean, put in between your teeth and see how you advance here? And what about be nice to the other and giving him a cup of coffee and taking a walk with him? So what is the issue here? Just be nice to the other, or to not be offended by if he says a word to overcome. But what does it mean when he said put a knife between your teeth, and now let's see, you will have to rise above that which bothers you to be as one that leads you to unpleasant actions towards each other. No, we don't look at it whether it's pleasant or not. We just know that it's necessary and we have to do it, and not to be afraid of course. Okay, thank you. Good morning. How does the 10 enter a state where we feel we're in the Creator's part, and how do we measure the power of our intention? We see this out of the relations between them. If the relations between them begin to be above each of their egos, then it's a sign that they're entering already into the nature of the Creator. That's it. Okay, yes. And about this they say that only one can discovers one and this annulment towards their friends. Through that they can relate their work to revelations, and the nations of the world in a person say, what do you need this work for? We are the vessels that the thought of creation speaks about to do good to. So what does each one in the 10 respond to this complaint that says, no, it's not the connection. The goal is to fill up the vessels, and that's it. What are you talking about connection for? So what's the question? What do we respond to this revelation? Inside the 10 that it's inside. Each and every one when each one says why the connection okay the teacher says so, but the goal is to fill up the vessels with pleasure. What do you need to connect for? It just turn to the Creator and that's it. Each one on his own, no each from himself will not work. We have to go together from below all the way up as much as we can and to ask for a connection as the connection also needs to be a point that is clear to us all to what we're going towards and in what place we need to be connected. And in the work we're told prayer, the Creator discussed the greatness of the group and the greatness of the Creator, and the nations of the world from within come to us and say, okay, talk and discuss and all that, but what is it about this praise to the Creator that the article says no, the nations of the world too need to reach that state of praising the Creator eventually? Yes, we need to connect in the point in which we all want to adhere to the Creator. It's to this point that we are drawn to where everyone, each and everyone with his nature, with his these points, these internal points of there must be drawn to that connection in one point where everyone is. And when this inner struggle begins, what aid do you receive? Can you that you can put the finger on and said this is aid that we get from above? What we get from above is in the assistance that we receive is that we feel that our power is actually in the connection. In connection, none of us can grip the Creator, and not even in the friend, unless we want to hold on to the Creator, and as a means for this we hold on to the friends, and that's how we succeed. Okay. Can. Shalom, hello Guy from the new group of Andai campus. 3. My question is, said if I'm not for me, who is for me? Turns out everything is done by man, and after doing man should say, everything is done by the Creator, and as man's doing depend on the Creator's will, or according to what our sages said, if I'm not for me, then who is for me? Again, is the doing of the person depend on the Creator's will, or according to what our sages says, if I'm not for me, then who is for me? So does it depend on me, or whatever I do doesn't matter in the Creator? No, of course the beginning of the action depends on the Creator, since he gave you the desire, the opportunity, the environment, the teacher, etc. But in eventuality you have to reach that which is planned, which is to become as one man in one heart. But the initial movement, the action, I need to do it on my own. No, not you but him. I am first and I am last. It cannot be that the Creator leaves the beginning of an action to you. You're not capable. You're receiving an awakening and you're feeling desires from above, but to carry them out you must when you're below. So the awakening is also from him. He awakens me and he causes me, or influences me to reach. Yes, it turns out that we just need to arrange the environment and to arrange the actions between us in the correct environment, so the Creator will dwell between us. Okay. Can. Yes. Good morning, our friends on the same matter. It turns out that we cast a doubt on creation because he gave us a vessel of reception, and say no, we know the opposite. So that audacious is that if the Creator says I'm first, I'm last, he gives us this, the desire to bestow to begin with. We receive from above, let's say the beginning of the tendency for the desire to bestow, and then we need to implement it, to execute it in practice between us. And what does it mean that it says my sons defeated me? Life is a game that we're going against our will to receive, and do want to stand before the Creator together. Said that's it. Okay, so I have here all and one. Good morning. The morning quote says in the article, everything is done by the Creator, and he who comes to purify is it, and that is our choice. There's a contradiction here. So what are we adding? What is our free choice exactly? Here also, where a person comes to purify, it's in the hands of the Creator. The main thing a person needs to understand is that he's moving through the states that are written in advance, and all he has to do is to agree with some of those states and to disagree with some others, but the other way. And this is how he actually advances until he discovers that his desires and the desires of the Creator become as one image, and what does that have to do with, let's say, the sense of good and bad? Do we add something? Do we what do we add to the Creator? Actually, is it that sense of good and bad and choose in that we operate from the small desire to receive that the Creator created in us, and we try to decide above it, before it, above it. And how do we come to the sense of what is good and bad? This is actually clear to us from within the society, where if we want to all unite and become like one man in one heart, then all our tendencies to do so are desirable in the eyes of the Creator, and then we are helping one another and join everyone together into one goal, one point. Do I need to ask the Creator for help to be able to decide what is good and bad? You need to decide, yes. According to what you're learning, you need to decide then what is good and what is bad, and what you're drawn to. Yes, that is your choice. Thank you. Armos. 6. Okay. Short while ago you answered the friend that I can't turn to the Creator from myself, only from the connection. How to turn to Him from the connection if besides my fail self I don't feel anyone? I'm an egoist, I only feel myself. So what does it mean? No, I turned to the Creator. They try to address Him, a representative of my group, and this is how we will advance. Each and everyone turns to the Creator on behalf of the society and asks and demands the Creator to take us forward. Meaning, when I try to raise the request, I immediately imagine the friends and the thought, and what is that state of connection? You feel them together, you feel them together, and from that common feeling, you turn to the Creator. The essence of the prayer is that a person wants to change his perception of the world. You want to connect with the friends in order to F oneself in the world of their Creator, meaning through the connection to change his attitude to the world. For a question from a friend, what does it depend? What determines that the Creator will change us, and what's the importance of the friends here? Again, what determines if the Creator changes all our desires, and what's the importance of the friends regarding this? To the extent in which we ask more unanimously, then we can succeed more. For that, take our deficiency, and upon this deficiency perform the next correction, and raise us to the next degree. Mark 4. H question from a friend: if the Creator governs everything, where is man? Where is the place for man's choice between the friends in the group? We said yesterday that if that everything is determined from above, like do the habits of the Creator also come from the Creator, and can we correct them? We correct all that we want if we just operate according to the conditions in the spiritual environment the Creator does everything. So how can I find my dire situation and know what is correct and incorrect to do? How can I work and call in accordance with reward and punishment? My main work is to connect with the friends, and together we will feel ourselves existing as if in one body, in one head, in one. To the extent to which we feel ourselves more together, we will be closer to the Creator, until we start to feel that in truth we are truly together with Him. H4. It says in the article that we should have faith that whatever ever a person can receive in vessels of reception is just a thin line with respect to the pleasure dressed in spirituality. Yes, it sounds like he's turning to igniting the well to receive. Right, he's telling you that in the desire to receive you won't be able to feel more than a spark, more than a thin candle. When a person receives a state where he has a question of what is this work for you and so forth, is it recommended to tell yourself, look, there's more pleasure there to basically work in Lishma to move yourself. Yes, morning everyone. Rob, we see Rash describing a process here for all the nations of the world turn against Israel, meaning all the desires to receive. They power the will to bestow. We also see the opposite process when Israel governs the nations, and ultimately everyone sanctifies the Lord, including the vessels of reception. My question is, can we see a similar state in our material world as well, that Israel is being governed by nations of the world, that they come to us with complaints, and so forth. Do we actually reach such a state? Is the state that is described something that can happen in our reality? Do we see signs for awakening? Okay, alright, I understood you. The speech I understand. No, we don't have time for that. We need to unite the people of Israel and to raise our prayer to the Creator so He will manage us in a short and correct manner. That's it. It all depends on our prayer and demand. That's it. We don't see awakening in the nation as signs. I understand you. Stop crying. Just do something. That's it, woman. MOS, it says in the last paragraph that a person receives an awakening from above, and because he doesn't appreciate the awakening, can't appreciate being called by the king, then he goes into the control of other nations. How to appreciate the awakening? We need to awaken one another and to try and connect all the awakenings that are in each of us to the general awakening of ours, and to address this awakening to the Creator. That's item 1. We do daily work. We connect and pray. Connect and pray, and it feels like there's progress. The friends become closer. The goal is more important. You said before, the goal is to be in the Creator's world, to feel it. What does it mean to be in the Creator's world, under His control? Under His control. See, woman cap. You thank you, Rob. I heard Rob answering to see a few minutes ago that everything is done by the Creator, and a person needs to agree with some states and disagree with others. That says so with what states we should agree and what states we should disagree with. That's clear to us that all the states that bring us closer between us we agree with. We want to absorb them and to perform them, and all the rest of their states, no. Speech. Fortune, it says in the article that everything is governed. We learn that intellectually, but we forget it. How can we always remember it? Let's by reminding it between us. Women mark progress by the Creator comes down to the Creator, showing us such states in the 10 that there's such a form within reason that a person cannot overcome. That's so we don't need to do this alone. You have a group. Try. A person understands that with his own strength he can't. What he has left is only to rely on the Creator. Well, so what's the problem? I wanted to ask if that's how he advances us. Advancement comes from the intensifying of the connection between the friends, and from that connection addressing the Creator from the point of connection between you. In this way together, it is called that you together with the Creator, and then that point you can raise to a permanent connection with Him. There's nothing difficult in this. It's 1 + 1 = 2. And the whole problem is that we don't want to hear clear. Both in yesterday's article and today, if I understand correctly, nations of the world are referred to as the evil inclination. The will to receive created by Creator is not that the evil inclination. What's the difference between the raw desire created by the Creator and the nations of the world, and the will and the evil inclination? When an awakening comes from above, then those who are drawn towards it are in the good inclination, and those that are not drawn to Him or to the contrary, that's called the evil inclination. And why the nations of the world, which are actually the desires to receive the Creator created, and the right that they should ultimately receive the pleasure, why are they discerned as the evil inclination? No, this is not, how should I say this, these are not the regular desires to receive in a person, rather desires that are against connection, meaning to some extent the nations of the world is some intention over the desire, not just the raw desire. No. Yes, He gave us an advice before. He said we only have to set up the environment and actions between us, so the Creator will dwell between us. And it says I'm first and I'm last, so I wanted to ask if anything the Creator awakens in me, I have to immediately think, how do I take it and realize it in the environment, in the T. Okay, next question. What does it mean I'm last? After I say make an effort, I have a desire, I realize it. What does it mean I am Last I am first and I am last, both the initial awakening and also the final goal is defined by the creator too. There's a meaning that in that I act to a certain point and then the creator needs to complete the action or what in each and every action of yours. You feel that that is where the participation of the creator needs to happen, and how do you do this difference between me and my own strength and we try to do on our own and to work with him in partnership? Can you give an advice how to do it? That depends on how sensitive, how delicate we are in, where you're capable, where you're not capable, where you give to the creator and want the creator to help you. That's dependent on the tango between you, on the subtlety of connection between you. This tango I need to know where I stop to know I've done my part to this point, and now you, the creator, will do it. I can't say it that way. It's all complex when you understand that you're working together with the creator and you're correcting some of your desires and present it to him, and there the creator completes it for me as it considered. That's how it works. Thank you've described here a certain process, said when we come here to the lesson, for instance, each one received an awakening. We connect all our awakenings to a great one, great desire, and we turn into the creator, and then we rise to a more permanent connection with him. Yes, the opposite too. It is that we lose, let's say, after the lesson, we lose our connection to each other sometimes and also the creator. Then their importance falls down and we fall into some ordinary beast life for minutes or an hour. Or let's say we succeed in doing something like that, connecting between us and directing our connection to him. How if we succeed even for a moment, how do we maintain that point constantly on top of all the changing states in each and every one? How do you can maintain this hold on with your teeth, with your hands, with all your desire in that point of connection and in the creator, and not let go of that point no matter what he does with us? My corporal eyes here see friends who are here and they have a desire. That's also something I have to always maintain, to have the force of the group with me as much as possible. What do you do when you're alone? How do you get that strength so that you cannot let go? You connect with them. You were already connected there. Connect with them. You want to feel them, their hearts, as much as they yearn for the purpose of creation. Thank you, said. Okay, that's it. Good morning, Rob. Hello, friends. It's exciting to be here for the first time. Question: how can a person receive the vessels of bestow from the creator? What actions should we do? And after we receive the vessels of bestow, I understood the vessels are supposed to become vessels of mercy. What does that mean? A person needs to be connected. He needs to be connected to the friends, needs to be connected to the path, and gradually, with persistence, emotionally and intellectually, he establishes within him that this purpose, this point, and this is how one advances can. And yeah, what should happen to a person to move him from I'm not for myself then, who then to n else besides him? He needs to in such a way that the creator will bring him closer to permanent great connection of the whole group. Where is the place of labor that he is exerting in this, in order to come to a state that is as connected as possible with all the friends and with their teacher, and certain through them? What does he see? If I say, if I'm not for myself, then who? What needs to happen? What do I get? What do you want? I want to feel that there's none else besides him. Wonderful. Pray constantly want within you to go with the fact that you want none else besides him. For there to be a prayer in you that you want to attain none else besides him, and you're constantly demanding this. Nice. Siberia. How does the group build a accurate picture of unity so the goal is realistic and not a dream? It's through persistence, as we talked about it. If they're with us do all the articles, it shouldn't be a question any longer to be as one man in one heart. Everyone are friends, everyone support each other, everyone is holding each other up, giving examples to one another in this way, together in the group everything all the way up to the purpose of creation. Shalom is there trying to accelerate the time go the way, and then it seems like we have fallen on a regular way. How could we pick this up? A acceleration all the time, accelerate the haste itself past to the friend's pass, to only by exerting in prayer to the Creator through the entire group to the Creator from each and every friend world. 10 He writes, I'll read from the middle of the paragraph. Love to each Lord with all your heart, with both your inclinations, meaning in the good inclination and in the bad ation. See you, while man's vessel of reception achieved the force to become, in order to bestow, then he works for the Creator with the evil inclination, meaning that the evil inclination to loves the Creator because it receives good and pleasure. The question is, the evil inclination is the posterior of the Creator, its anti-Creator. So how can we understand this state when we get the real understand? Ultimately, the entire creation is going back to its root. Don't raise your hand, I'm not going to let you ask because you arrived half an hour late into the lesson, so sit down until tomorrow. We have to treat you like in school through punishments. Question from Women Hebrew 3. There was a question with what states do we agree and not, and Avi answered that you agree with states that come closer to you, and those that don't you don't. So what is the state that bring you closer, and the states that don't? By checking, are they good for the connection with friends or not? But I feel that there are states that bring me closer and that are pleasant, and those that aren't. So how can I feel that a states that are bringing me closer or not? I didn't understand if I check the state that brings us closer or not. I usually check it according to my own CLE, whether it's pleasant to me or not, that connection. Well, if that's the case, you might be wrong. So how can I discern correctly to be above your ego as much as possible when the Creator sends states of separation in the 10 and distance? What is the most beneficial action in order to go through it quickly? By which action can we connect through what there are states of and separation and anger in the T? And for me it's very important to feel good relations, and I always want to bring the 10 closer to the Creator, to do all the required actions in order to feel them in the heart. So what are the actions that are most beneficial in order to feel closeness as much as possible in the T? And there are all kinds of frictions. You have to scrutinize that with the friends, maybe through some singing, some type of study, by reading certain verses, psalms. I don't know. See what brings the heart closest is this can change from day to day as well. We need to think. We will go to the next part of the lesson, and before that we'll sing a song together. For we are now checking what we are studying now, either or introduction to what's easier, what's closer to those who are here for the first, second times. No